I think some of you might have been hearing about all of the dust that we've been seeing in the atmosphere, like haze. And yeah, we're getting a ton of it here now. I didn't think it's never made it this far west before, but this is all Sahara dust, guys. And I've never seen it like this before. I mean, it's always affected the Eastern Caribbean. It's something that comes up just before, like at the start of hurricane season. So the islands get enshrouded in this thick cloud of dust. And it's all coming across the ocean from the Sahara Desert in Africa. It's amazing that it travels this far. This is a photo from space that shows the dust as it's being picked up in Africa and swept out to sea, and of course carried north up towards the North Atlantic High. In this 2-day time lapse from NASA, you can clearly see the dust getting carried up into the upper atmosphere and swept across the Atlantic all the way into the Caribbean Sea. But we don't normally see it this far west. The difference right now is we have this significant wind event that it's been running for almost a week, running 25 to 30 knots of wind continuous, and some days we're getting 35 plus. So we're not having rain today, but we had some rain last night, and when we went to collect the rain out of our buckets,
I think I can use this for make a laundry, you know? Look at the color then.
that's just our rainwater.
No rainwater, look.
Oh, let me see. Yeah, look.
It's orange.
That's just from the rain. That's a lot of dust. Holy crap. Doing our laundry here, but we're using our desalinator water from the seawater.
What do you think for plants?
No, you don't want to add that much dust to the plants either, because it'll accumulate in there.
You think how many fires arrive this sand?
Yep. All the way from Sahara Desert. In Africa. That's crazy.
So far away.
But, yeah, like I said before, I just hope it doesn't last long. Because, yeah, we can't collect rain now either. This is making it a little bit more difficult to live. How's that one? A little better?
Oh, so.
Yeah, let's see.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, it's clear. That's good. It had some dust in it. That was when it first started, but the dust obviously has probably settled out into the bottom of the container, so we're gonna have to clean the container when it's empty, but at least, yeah, that's fresh, so you can use that for laundry, no problem.
Yeah, now the problem is where I dry my stuff, my yarn, because if you put outside, they come back orange. Yeah, the water was yellow and it scaled the bottom of the buckets. I don't know if you can see this, but look at this. That's the inside of the bucket, just from one night. The first night we had some Sahara dust, and you might be able to see it in the bottom there, but yeah, it's just this layer of dust. Look at that. That, my friends, is sand dust all the way from the Sahara Desert in Africa. And it came all the way here to Sophisticated Lady in San Andres, Colombia, in the middle of the Caribbean Sea. And we are in the middle of the Caribbean Sea, so I was amazed. You can see all my grass is clean now. Heidi was joking a few minutes ago, thinking that, oh, I better get my laundry down before it messes that up too. She was joking, but I thought it was a joke too, but no. It's orange. Look at this. It's full of sand. Oh no. And that's just from hanging it to dry. Just washed this like a couple hours ago. I need to clean all. Look at that. It's all Sahara dust. Here is all orange. That, my friends, that's a lot of dust right there. That's just from the air in the last couple hours that she put that on the rail. But yeah, this is what we're getting. I mean, you can see just the background, the shore behind us is hazy, just like we thought at first. I was thinking it's just high humidity. No, it's not high humidity, it's dust. It's all dust. It's amazing how thick it is. I mean, we can usually see all the way down to the point, way down there, no problem, clear as a bell. We can always usually see, I mean, I think you can probably see through here, that's where Rose Key is, and it's normally very clear as well. You can barely see it, and it's all thick haze from this dust. So, not sure how much longer it's gonna last, hopefully not too, but I guess we just wait and find out. Otherwise, we may have to start wearing our masks on the boat too, because that's pretty thick dust. When you see it accumulating on your clothes, even in a couple hours, just hanging out on the lifelines, that's crazy.
On this part 2 of the day. I'm going to get some editing done. And Madalena is going shopping in town with some of her girlfriends. We're just on our way over to pick up Sasha now.
Close your eyes with me, start imagining a world full of love. We can change the stars with our hands and hearts, make them shine on us. But no, don't worry, darling, they won't stop staring, but soon they'll be caring. Come from near and far, with their hands and hearts, 'cause it's time to stand up. Oh, the world is changing, and all I'm saying is we gotta believe. I'm a drop of water, but you know together we're the ocean deep.
Okay, we find another shop, dive shop, and second test.
The time is always right to open up your eyes and be the flickering flame. We can light the corners, shine through all the borders. Deep down we are the same. But no, don't worry, darling, they won't stop staring, but soon they'll be caring. Oh, the world is changing, and all I'm saying is we gotta believe. I'm a drop of water, but you know together we're the ocean deep.
Meanwhile, back on Sophisticated Lady, where I thought I'd be getting some editing done.
So, what do you suppose today's little adventure's about? Anybody recognize this little guy? This is what keeps your boat afloat if it's sinking, which hopefully it never does, but if it does, you want to have a good one of these in order to keep pumping the water out faster, hopefully, than the water is coming in. Now, we have a problem with ours, as you can see, otherwise why else would I be sitting here with it? But we've got a Rule 3700 pump, that's 3,700 gallons per hour, and it's been installed in the bilge of Sophisticated Lady for roughly, probably about 9 to 10 years, and always worked very well, because obviously it doesn't have to work very hard most of the time if you've done a good job with everything else on the boat. But that's why normally I don't just leave my pumps on automatic. I like to test them every day with my manual switch. So I hit the switch just to hear the pump. I want to hear if it's on, and not only that, make sure there's no water in the bilge that I don't know about. So I do that every morning as part of my startup practice. And today I did it, and no pump. So, okay, well obviously there's a problem. So I open up, I look, and there's a little bit of water in the bilge because we've had a lot of rain, and some of it always makes its way down into the bilge, but the bilge pump is not working anymore, so it's not able to pump it out. So we need to find out why. And I did a test underneath the bilge. First thing I look for, of course, is voltage to the pump. Make sure that the wires are getting proper 12-volt supply, which of course they were. So Wasn't any problem there. It's got lots of power coming to it, but it's not getting to the motor. Now the first thing I look for is whether the impeller's got something jammed in it, because sometimes if something gets into the, you know, string, thread, hair, whatever, it could get into the bilge and get sucked into this little impeller. And I think you can probably see it, but I can turn it free and it's clean. So there's nothing in the impeller. It's turning no problem. So that's not the issue. And it also feels like the motor is spinning freely, so it's not bound up. So to me, that means that it's one of two things. Either a bad wire connection going into the pump or bad brushes. So one of those two things. Now, if it's a bad wire, there's a good chance I can probably fix it if I can get to the place where the bad wire is. As you can see, these are not really meant to be serviceable. They are put together in such a way that they can't have any water intrusion or anything like that. And I'm just going to get this hose off first. That's just our check valve right there, so that water only goes out one way out through the hose but can't come back in. That way the pressure of the water through the line that goes out to the back of the boat can't come back down through the line and just refill the bilge again after you shut the pump off. But yeah, basically it's either a bad wire or bad brushes. Now bad brushes could be a little bit more complicated. I might not be able to do anything with that if that's the case. If they're just needing to be smoothed out or something, that's fine. If there's something, if one's worn out or broken or anything, then yeah, I'm probably out of luck with that. Now, typically I carry a spare one of these pumps on board, and I do believe I have one, but I'll have to go digging for it, because obviously it's been in spare parts for a long time, which have been shuffled around the boat many times since we've been in different cruising modes. But if you look at the pump, you'll see that it's held together basically first with these 6 Phillips screws. So we're going to need a Phillips screwdriver, obviously, and just basic tools is what I've got here so far. I'm assuming we're going to have to do some wire work, so I've got my wire strippers, crimpers, cutters, strippers here, and of course my trusty multimeter, because this is what's going to help us isolate the problem if it's a wire inside the unit or not. So I don't want to just cut the wire here to test it. I know it's good up to here and it doesn't feel like there's any problems here, but I need to see what's inside this module and then go from there. So that's what we're going to do first, is just take the 6 screws out and take the device apart. Okay, so 6 screws are out, as you can see, and basically we've got a top and a bottom part to the module. It's in 2 pieces, so the whole casing, this top piece, yeah, it just comes off like that, but it has a strain relief on the wire, so we got to watch that. But I think I can pull some of the wire through, yeah, just to give us a little bit of working room here. Okay, and there's our electric motor. So everything is clean and dry inside, so the waterproof seals are working. That's good. You can see them here. That's the seal, and it seems to be fairly intact. There's no moisture intrusion inside the device. Whoop. So there it comes off the bottom casing, and that's just the bell housing there that helps it focus on the water that it's going to be sucking out of the bilge. There's our seal, as you can see. Square seal, much like an O-ring on an oil filter. So I'm not going to try and take the motor out. I don't think there's any need to do that, but here is our wiring right here. But you can see I also don't have any test points here. It goes straight from here straight into the motor. Now I see there's 2 screws here, so those are obviously our longitudinal screws that hold the whole motor casing together. And underneath this top plate right here, that is probably where we're going to find our brushes that conduct the electricity to the electrical windings on the motor. Now I do see right off the bat that there's some kind of a little hidden component on this input wire. You can just see it there, and it's covered in heat shrink. So that might be a starting point. We might have to cut this heat shrink off and have a look inside there. I don't know if that's a diode or transistor or something, but it's some type of a component. And there's a good chance that that's where we're going to start with, just to make sure that we got continuity. It's on the brown wire, so the live. We'll test for continuity between this end and each side of whatever that is. So for that, I am going to need an X-Acto knife.
Sasha, what are you thinking?
Very, very Very nice.
Nice.
See,
Wow, I make a sauna inside here, but wow.
I know you're beautiful. This costume,
And
you beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Now we test the another one because
Okay.
I want to make speedy. Oh, thanks.
Okay, so that's where our little X-Acto knife comes in handy. And we're just going to try and strip some of this casing off and see what is hidden underneath here. And sure enough, it's a solid wire. Yeah, it looks like a little capacitor, guys. That's something that they install in the power line so that when a motor starts up, it has a bit of reserve power right at the intake for startup. First thing we're going to be concerned about is the connections for the capacitor in case one of them has failed. So we're going to strip all the way back here. Just going to take this whole thing off because I need to test at the ends of the wire where it's attached to the capacitor and make sure we got continuity through. Okay, so that's our little component right there. Let's switch this to continuity. Okay, so that's a short. No short. 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 Oh, there we go. Right off the bat, that's our problem. The capacitor's blown. See, we got a short right there. That's on the wire coming from the battery voltage source in the boat. Comes into this part of the wire first, goes through the capacitor, and then comes over here. And it's fully insulated. There is no continuity between there, and there needs to be, otherwise power can't get through to the motor. So I can't really say problem solved yet. I guess it depends how important that capacitor is, because probably to get this working I'm going to have to cut the capacitor out and re-splice these wires together, just go straight in. And that just means that the motor is not going to have that little jolt of extra power when I turn it on to start. But I've got a pretty good heavy wire mounted down into the bilge there, so it should be okay as far as the amount of current that's able to deliver to the motor. But that does save us from having to open up the motor. But you can see right there, there's those two screws right there. If we needed to take that out and have a look and check inside, then those two screws come out and the whole cylinder will come out and you'll see where the brushes are and everything. But I don't think that's the problem right now, so I'm going to just put some 12 volts onto this line here and see if that does the trick. And if it does, we'll put it back together. Because like I say, if it's not broken in here, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's too. Well, sweet. What are you thinking about that?
Nice, but I think it's little big from you.
Big. Yeah,
Big.
it's possible, yeah. Long. I like the color too.
Color, this is color, blue color. It's very nice from you. Very good from you.
Yeah, but it's a little. I don't know. What are you thinking? I need to. I test this, I think so, to understand if you like it. Because this is like the color and the style. The another one is more dark. Oh, these have some color. But I don't know. I need to come back with the Capitan or Mario, the instructor, the dive instructor, to understand what they think.
Yes.
My father told me that it's better one size more.
He talked to you and professional. It's
Yeah, I think
your
this
job.
I think this is the best. Okay, guys, sorry. I just lose 1 kilo. I'm happy about that, but it's so hot. Yeah, alone is impossible for me now. Oh, thanks so much, Sasha.
Okay, so that's the little capacitor right there. I've already cut it out. You can see what we got there, and I've got the 2 wires right here. So I've got them cut where they'll match up here. And we need to take our trusty wire strippers and strip back some clean wire. Okay. And you can see this is good wire. It actually is tinned wire, so that's good. It's going to last a lot longer than that crap we worked on up on the windlass motor the other day. Now, for this we need our specialty tool kit supplies here. Okay, so we're going to need about a 14 gauge for this. Okay, and that fits on perfect. Should give that a good crimp. Put the other end in as far in as it will go. And I like to crimp that all the way through just to make sure good connection. And my favorite little tool. Just to heat up the heat shrink tubing. And press it all down and make sure that it stays watertight. Okay. As you can see, it looks almost as good as before, just one less component. Now, we do have to realize that without this component, the motor may not last as long as it would with the component, but if we can get the motor running without this component, then at least we get our bilges pumped out again, and we're in much better shape than if we don't have it. So that is what we're doing today, and then we just keep in mind that we have had to do a modification to this motor and we need to replace it at some point. So that's when I start looking for my replacement spare part, and we just know that it's going to be on standby if this thing gives up the ghost again.
Okay, so the ground, please. I need air now.
Okay.
It's so hot. Something green, something good and fresh. Come on.
Come on. Come baby, come baby, come. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
¿Qué tal? ¿Bien?
Oh,
¿Pelea?
no, sauna. Hace mucho calor dentro del baño, en esta ventana. Mission impossible complete. Done. Now, something to drink and a piece of cake for have some sugar. What are you thinking, Sasha? What do you like more?
I like right now cerveza. No coffee, but it's so hot.
Okay.
It's enough?
We'll go for ice cream and
Ice
beer.
cream.
Okay?
Yes, ice cream.
Perfect. This is the best bakery of San Andres. Look at the cake, what they have here. Look. Very good. Go for one beer, fresh beer.
So I've got it ready, I've got the ground hooked up. I'm just going to touch this to the positive bus down here, and we're just going to hope that this works. Okay, we're in good shape. Alright, so we can get our bilge pump back and working again. So that's going to solve that issue for today. Remember, this is a band-aid fix. When you'd have to take a component out of something, usually that means you've decreased the life of it again. Now, this motor should last for a long time, but we'll see. At some point, we're going to take it out, put in the new one, and then we'll just keep this one as a backup. So that'll be next project. But all I'm going to do now is put this baby back together, put it back in the bilge, pump all this water out that we brought in from the rainstorms, and then we're good to go. So problem solved for today.
I need to learn some word from Sasha in Russian. It's a Russian lesson.
Всем привет! Я сейчас нахожусь в Сан-Андреасщине.
What?
Сан-Андреас
Yeah.
Island. But Russian in Сан-Андреасщина.
San Andreshina.
Si.
Wow. That is
signor.
very long. San Andreshina.
Si. But it's a Finnish. But
It's Finnish, San Andres?
Maggie.
I don't know. San Andres is nice. No.
Сан-Андреасщина. I have a more friend and San Andreas. I thank you, my God. I have a nice time from this time and from this island. Thank you. Life is life. I live my life. I'm
The quarantine sometimes, guys, help to have a very good friends. Yeah, I think we are very lucky.
Thank you so much and quarantine.
Yeah, thanks so much, coronavirus. Sometimes you become some positive. The English sometimes is very hard for us. Yeah, fucking English.
Fucking English. Учи русский. Учи русский. Speak Russian.
Uchiowski, speak Italian.
Okay, first test. I can hear it. Houston, we have a winner. Muy bueno. All right, that's it for that little project.
Happy, happy, day and night, wanna be alright. Happy, I wanna be lovely, 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 bold and bright, wanna find my light, lovely. Hold my hand and tell me everything is good. Strike up the band and let's wake up the neighborhood. They'll never get us, they'll never catch us. No, no, no. I wanna be happy, happy, happy. Day and night, wanna be alright. Happy, I wanna be lucky, lucky, lucky. Play my cards, gonna count my stars.
And that smells good.
Yeah, the smell is very good. It's a sample pasta, but sometimes the sample is the best.
Mm-hmm.
With, yeah, tomato, tuna, capers, and our basil.
Our own fresh grown basil.
Yeah.
God love it. Looks yummy, smells yummy.
Now we wait 1 second. I finished to prepare our table. And open my belly.
We all wanna be happy. We all wanna be happy. We all wanna be happy. We wanna be happy. We wanna be happy. We wanna be happy. Happy. We wanna be happy. We wanna be happy. Day and night, wanna be alright. Bold and bright.
I have a nice time from this time and from this island. Thank you.
In Russian.
Okay. Спасибо большое за то, что я нахожусь здесь. Спасибо большое моим родителям, близким и Богу, что я имею возможность находиться с Мэгги, общаться с ней, иметь друзей. Я познакомилась с Катей еще с одной замечательной девчонкой. Спасибо вам огромное за понимание, поддержку, за правильные, нужные советы. Я провожу здесь очень-очень хорошее время, несмотря на то, что я здесь работаю.
Okay, I thinking is a lesson, Russian lesson. Okay, I don't understand anything. You repeat, please.
No, I'm not repeating. Okay. Maggie.
Please translate in English for me. It's too long.
Okay. My fucking English, I'm not.
It's
not
very
repeat-
nice your English.
No. Okay,
When I met you for the first time, you remember you don't speak English. No hello, no anything.
I know.
Yeah.
But
now you speak
I
better than me sometimes.
I speak right now. I have a nice time. I have a nice mood from you, from my boat sometimes, from Katya. I have a nice pictures. I thank you so much, God and my family. I'm stay here, and I have a nice time.
You are beautiful women.
I have
So sweet. My friends. I'm very happy to
I
meet you.
have a nice teacher. I know one girl. Name is Maggie. You and everybody not understand my thing, but I have a really it's serious. I have a good my teacher and yoga and help me cook, help me talk in my
Help
boat.
me drink a beer. or run.
Woman, shut up.